I want to give you a simple yet powerful challenge today. I'm asking you to commit to something for just 21 days. Now, I know you've probably heard about challenges before, whether it's for fitness, nutrition, or some other aspect of self-improvement, but this one is different. This challenge is going to work on the deepest levels of your mind and body. It's going to change you from the inside out. For the next 21 days, I want you to do 3 things every single day. Just 3. These are simple actions, but they're based on profound principles that tap into the science of neuroplasticity, the science of changing your brain, and the power of aligning your energy with your intentions. And if you do them consistently, you'll start to see a shift inside you that might just blow your mind. You'll notice changes in how you think, how you feel, and how you experience your life. The first thing I want you to do each morning when you wake up is to ask yourself one powerful question. What is the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today? Now, I know this might sound simple, but it's incredibly profound. Most of us wake up and immediately start thinking about our to-do lists, our responsibilities, our worries. We're operating on autopilot, repeating the same thoughts, feelings, and behaviors as the day before. But when you ask yourself this question, you're breaking that cycle. You're interrupting the program. This question forces you to think beyond your habitual self. It makes you pause and consider, even if just for a moment, the possibility of being someone different, someone greater. And in that moment, you're no longer just your past self. You're no longer just a collection of memories, habits, and conditioned responses. You're stepping into the realm of possibility. Now, your body might resist this at first. It's used to operating in a certain way. It might tell you that it's too tired, too stressed, too busy to think about ideals. But this is where your work begins. When you notice that resistance, remind yourself that you are not your body. You are not your mind. You are something greater, a consciousness that has the power to direct your life. So gently bring your attention back to that question and allow yourself to imagine what your day would look like if you were living as the greatest version of yourself. Once you've set that intention, the second thing I want you to do is take a few minutes to write down the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions you want to change. Just like you'd write a to-do list, you're going to create a to-be list. Start by identifying 4 thoughts that you want to stay conscious of throughout the day. These could be negative thoughts like, I can't do this is too hard, or I'm not good enough. Write them down and then make a commitment to catch yourself whenever those thoughts arise. Next, write down 4 behaviors that you want to change. Maybe you have a habit of complaining, blaming others, making excuses, or feeling sorry for yourself. These are behaviors that keep you locked in a victim mentality, where you believe that life is happening to you rather than through you. Write them down and decide that today you're going to act differently. You're going to take responsibility for your life and your emotions. Finally, write down the emotions that no longer serve you. Are you carrying around guilt, shame, anger, or fear? These emotions are rooted in the past, and they're holding you back from stepping into your future. Acknowledge them, write them down, and then make a conscious choice to let them go. By doing this exercise every morning, you're setting the stage for a different kind of day. You're becoming aware of the old self, the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that have been running your life, and you're choosing to create a new self. This is how change begins. It starts with awareness and intention. Now, let's talk about the third and final part of this challenge, which is the most important step of all. This step takes place at the end of each day, right before you go to bed. It might seem simple, but it has the power to completely transform your life if you do it consistently. Here's what I want you to do. Spend a few minutes in a state of gratitude. You might be thinking, I already do that. I say I'm grateful for my family, my health, my job, and that's great. Being thankful for these things is important, but what I'm asking you to do goes deeper than just saying the words. I want you to move beyond just thinking about what you're grateful for. I want you to truly feel gratitude deep inside you, in every part of your being. When I say feel gratitude, I mean that I want you to experience it so deeply that it changes your entire state of mind and body. Think about something that makes you really happy, something that brings you peace or joy. Now hold on to that feeling and let it grow. Let it spread through your whole body, from your head to your toes. Imagine that every cell in your body is filled with this feeling of thankfulness. This isn't just about being polite or saying the right things. This is about changing the way you feel on a deep physical level. When you feel gratitude like this, it's almost like your body is saying, yes, I have everything I need, I am content, I am at peace. It's a powerful state to be in because it sends a strong signal to your brain and to the universe that you are already abundant, already fulfilled. Let's break it down a little more. Think about the things you're grateful for, like your family, your health, or your job. Now, instead of just listing them in your mind, take a moment to feel what each one means to you. For example, if you're grateful for your family, imagine the love and support they give you. Feel how much they care for you and how much you care for them. Let that feeling of love and gratitude grow inside you until it's so strong that you can almost feel it physically. Or if you're thankful for your health, don't just say it, feel it. Feel the strength in your body, the energy that keeps you going every day. Imagine how good it feels to be healthy and strong. Let that feeling of gratitude for your health fill you up, making you feel even healthier and more vibrant. The key is to really immerse yourself in the feeling of gratitude. It's not just a mental exercise, it's a full-body experience. When you feel this way, you're doing more than just thinking positive thoughts. You're actually shifting your entire state of being. You're moving into a state where you're more peaceful, more content, and more open to receiving even more good things in your life. Doing this before bed is especially powerful. At the end of the day, your mind is more open and relaxed. By focusing on gratitude right before you sleep, you're setting a positive tone for the night and for the next day. You're programming your mind to stay in this state of gratitude, which helps you attract more things to be grateful for. Imagine how you'll feel when you wake up the next morning after spending a few minutes in deep gratitude the night before. You'll likely feel more positive, more energized, and more ready to take on the day. This simple practice can help you start each day with a fresh perspective and a sense of calm and confidence. But the benefits don't stop there. When you practice feeling deep gratitude every night, it becomes a habit. Over time, you'll notice that you start to feel grateful more naturally throughout the day, even without thinking about it. This shift in your mindset can lead to big changes in your life. You'll start to attract more positive experiences, more opportunities, and more of the things you truly want. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions you can feel. It's more than just saying thank you. It's about truly feeling thankful deep inside you, not just for what you already have, but also for what you want to have in the future. When you genuinely feel grateful, you're sending a strong signal to the universe that says, I already have what I want. This is important because it means you're acting as if your desires have already come true, even if you haven't seen them in your life yet. Imagine you're hoping to be healthier, wealthier, or happier. When you practice gratitude, you're not just wishing for these things to happen. You're feeling as if they're already a part of your life. You're telling your body, I am already healed, I am already whole, or I am already abundant. This isn't just positive thinking. It's about truly feeling that these things are real for you right now. When you do this, you're doing something very powerful. You're aligning your energy or your inner state with the reality you want to create. This is how you start to attract those things into your life. It's like tuning into the right radio station. If you want to hear music, you have to tune into a music station. If you want to experience more health, wealth, or happiness, you have to tune your mind and emotions to that frequency. Gratitude is the tool that helps you do that. Your thoughts and feelings are powerful because they shape your reality. When you think about what you want and feel grateful as if you already have it, you're creating a match between your inner world and the outer world you want to experience. This match is what starts to bring your desires into reality. The universe responds to this feeling of gratitude by aligning the circumstances and opportunities in your life to bring you more of what you're feeling thankful for. But gratitude does more than just help you attract what you want. It also changes how you feel in the present moment. When you're truly grateful, it's hard to feel negative emotions like fear, anger, or sadness. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking in your life to what's already good and abundant. It lifts your mood and makes you feel more positive even before your desires have fully manifested. This shift in energy doesn't just make you feel better, it also affects your body on a deeper level. When you feel grateful, your brain starts to release chemicals that promote healing and well-being. Your body responds by relaxing, reducing stress, and functioning better overall. In this way, gratitude isn't just an emotional state, it's also a state of physical well-being. So by practicing gratitude, you're doing two things at once. You're aligning yourself with the future you want to create, and you're also improving your current state of mind and body. This is why gratitude is so powerful. It's not just a nice thing to do, it's a tool for transforming your life from the inside out. You see, most people only believe in what they can see, touch, and experience with their senses. But if you're always reacting to the world outside of you, you're living in the past because your senses are constantly reliving the same experiences. Gratitude allows you to break free from that cycle. It allows you to create a new reality from the inside out. So, each night before you lay down to sleep, close your eyes and think about the day ahead. Imagine that everything you've ever wanted has already come true. You're healthy, you're happy, you're abundant, you're living your dream life. And as you imagine this, feel the gratitude as if it's already happened. Let that feeling wash over you and let it sink deep into your body. This is how you reprogram your subconscious mind. This is how you change your state of being. Now, I know this might sound a little too simple or too good to be true, but the science behind it is solid. When you combine a thought with an elevated emotion, you're creating a new state of being. And when you do this consistently day after day, you're rewiring your brain, reconditioning your body, and changing the way you interact with the world. It's like planting a seed in a garden. You can't just plant it and walk away. You have to water it, nurture it, and protect it from the elements. And if you do that consistently, day after day, eventually that seed will grow into a plant. It's the same with your mind and body. If you nurture these new thoughts, behaviors, and emotions every day, you'll start to see them grow into new patterns, new habits, and new ways of being. But here's the catch. This only works if you commit to it fully. You can't do it half-heartedly. You can't skip a day because you're too busy or too tired. You have to show up for yourself every single day for 21 days. You have to be willing to do the work, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like nothing is happening, because the truth is, change doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, it's a journey, and the more you commit to that journey, the more you'll start to see the changes inside you. You'll start to notice that your thoughts are different, your emotions are different, your reactions are different. You'll start to feel more in control of your life, more aligned with your true self. And once you start to see those changes, something amazing happens. You start to believe in your own power. You start to trust that you have the ability to create the life you want. And that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you believe in your power, the more powerful you become. So are you ready to take on this challenge? Are you ready to commit to 21 days of transformation? Because I promise you, if you do this work, if you show up for yourself every day, you will start to see changes inside you that you never thought were possible. You'll start to feel healthier, more alive, more connected to your true self. And that's when the magic happens. That's when you realize that you have the power to create your reality, one thought, one feeling, one day at a time. So let's do this. Let's commit to 21 days of becoming the greatest version of ourselves. Let's wake up every morning and ask, what is the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today? Let's become aware of the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that no longer serve us and make a conscious choice to change them. And let's end each day in a state of gratitude, feeling as if our dreams have already come true, a new vision. Now listen, your body's gonna go like, well, we gotta get a cup of coffee, and you gotta go, I'm tired, and you gotta go, body, you're not the mind, I'm the mind right now. You're gonna sit here, I'm gonna feed you, you're gonna get your coffee, you're going to do all those things, but right now, this is my time. You're going to obey me, right? So now the body's no longer the mind, you're the mind. And so when it wants to get up and you become aware of it, you return back to the present moment. Every time you do, that's a victory. And you're changing some aspect of yourself. So then ask yourself, I do this all the time. Write down 4 thoughts that you're going to stay conscious of the whole day. I can't, it's too hard. You'd be surprised the moment you become conscious of what those thoughts are, how unconscious you've been to them all day, all for weeks on end. Write down what you speak, how you speak, 4 things you want to change, how you act, how do you act? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? That's a victim consciousness. What emotions do you live by? Is it possible that you're so used to living by guilt you don't even know it's guilt, it just feels like you? Do you allow your energy to drop? Become conscious of those states of mind and body and review them and say, this is the old self. Then say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? And start firing and wiring and start feeling it. What behaviors will I demonstrate today? What choices will I make? One day, one lifetime, just like you did, rehearse them. Rehearse the whole entire thing. Begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain. And if you keep installing it, the hardware is going to become a software program, and you're going to start thinking and acting that way. And then here's the tough part. Can you teach your body emotionally what your future is going to feel like before it's made manifest? And don't get up until you feel that way. Now practice that for a few days and then see if you can stay in that state and watch all of a sudden all those weird doors start opening for you. Synchronicities, whatever they are. Number 2, take time at the end of your day before you lay down, and give thanks for your life. Feel gratitude and really teach your body what it feels like. The emotional signature of gratitude means you're getting something. If I give you something that's of value, you would say thank you because you would feel it, right? So when you're receiving, you're giving thanks. So gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. So then people only accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to their emotional state. So if you're in a state of gratitude, every thought's gonna make it right down into your body. If you're saying, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, and your body's programmed the negativity, it's saying, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not, thought's going to stop right here. So as you elevate your state, there are about 100-200 different chemical reactions that go on in the body that begin to restore and repair the body in a state of gratitude. And so we've done the research to prove that. 10 minutes and just feel it with all of your heart. That's it. The third thing, and very important, take time. Whenever it is, sit down, close your eyes, and begin to just open your awareness to the space around you and just sense it and pay attention to it and become more aware of it. The act of opening your awareness begins to reduce the stress hormones and creates more coherent brainwave states. I'm doing it right now. It's just a practice. It's just a practice. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. Most of our thoughts and feelings come from our past experiences. They come from our memories. In fact, your brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a record of all the things you've learned and experienced to date. It's an artifact. And when you have an experience, when you're in the midst of an experience, all of your 5 senses plug you into the external environment. And as your brain is processing all of this vital sensory data, all of that information rushes back to the brain, and when it reaches the brain, it causes jungles of neurons to organize themselves into networks, to string into patterns, to reflect their interaction with their external environment. The moment those neurons organize into patterns, the brain makes a chemical, and that chemical is called a feeling or an emotion. And so experiences tend to create more long-term memories because it patterns or stamps or embosses networks of neurons into very specific patterns. And then the emotional quotient helps us to remember the event. So we learn something new intellectually. We also cause networks of neurons to form. The Nobel Prize laureate Kandel in the year 2000 found that when people learn just one bit of information, they double the number of connections in their brain from 1,300 connections to 2,600 connections. So if they didn't review that information or repeat it, the connections pruned apart. So we know then that learning semantic information begins to organize circuitry in the brain, and experiences enrich the brain. The end product of experience, of course, is the emotion, and it causes us to feel certain ways. You can remember where you were on 9/11. You can tell me who you were with, what time of day it was, what you were doing, because whatever you were seeing in that moment or hearing in that moment changed how you were feeling. And the moment you felt altered or you felt differently, significantly, your brain perked up and you paid attention to whatever caused that. And that event in and of itself is called a memory. So then most of our thoughts and feelings tend to be within the neural circuitry of the past and the emotions of the past chemically. So if you take a thought, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. So if you combine a thought and a feeling, a thought and a feeling, a thought and a feeling, and you have a series of good thoughts that are connected to a series of good feelings, that cycle of thinking and feeling creates what's called an attitude. If you have a series of negative thoughts that are connected to some pretty bad feelings, you'll say, I have a pretty bad attitude today. So if how you think and how you feel creates a state of being, then attitudes are just shortened states of being. You feel good in the morning, you feel bad in the afternoon. If you take an attitude, an attitude, an attitude, and you begin to string attitudes together, when you combine an attitude, an attitude, an attitude, you start to form what's called beliefs. Now, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again until you hardwire it in your brain. And because beliefs are based on past experiences, then the very boundaries of our beliefs are how we feel. And so when our beliefs get challenged, it typically doesn't feel right. I know from the research that we've done that the redundancy of thinking and feeling and thinking over time, for example, a person has an insecure thought, then they feel insecure. The moment they feel insecure, they think more insecure thoughts. They fire and wire more circuits in their brain to feel more chemicals of insecurity. And then once they're feeling insecure, they think more insecure thoughts. And they do this over and over again. Right on the other side of your fear is courage. Right on the other side of your sadness is joy. It's the same energy. It's just trapped in the body. And when you stretch yourself past that point and you break free from the chains of those emotional addictions, the side effect of that is called joy. And the body is liberated from that level of mind. And when that happens, there's available energy to create with. And so when you break through that, you begin to love yourself. You begin to respect yourself. And you begin to love and respect others because you see yourself in them. And now that you're free from it, you can understand them with compassion without knee-jerking in the same way. So the difficulty here is really making the time to do it. And if you began to think about a new way of being and you moved into a state where you said, I'm not going to get up until I am this person. And not only did you memorize it neurologically in your brain, but you allowed the thoughts that you were thinking to become the experience to the point that your body, as the unconscious mind, began to live in that future reality in the present moment. And when you got up, when mind and body were working together in that state of being, and you said, I'm going to maintain the state of being my entire day, and I don't care. Bring on the challenges, because I want to test my greatness. And you did that the entire day. The end of your day, when you finished your day, more than likely you'd have more energy than when you started. The literal translation of the word meditation in Tibetan means to become familiar with. The symbol means to become familiar with. So if you're becoming conscious of or familiar with your unconscious self to the point you're so conscious of your unconscious thoughts, so familiar with your unconscious habits, and so aware of your emotions that you would never let them go by unnoticed by you. There's no chance for you to return back to the old self, to know thyself. So people wake up in the morning and they start thinking about their problems. And those problems are memories in the brain that are connected to certain people and certain things at certain times and places. So they wake up in the morning and they start thinking in the past. Now, the moment they start having those thoughts, every one of those experiences has an emotion associated with it. So when they start thinking about their problems or the problems of the world or the problems of their body or whatever it is, problems at work, they all of a sudden start to feel the correlated emotion. So now their body's in the past. So now people then get caught up in an emotion, they reaffirm their identity, they could wake up in the morning and feel nothing at all. And then all of a sudden they say, well, wait a second, I've got to get back to myself. So they start thinking about their problems, and here come the emotions. And they say, oh, now I feel like me again. So those emotions then begin to influence our thoughts. Like if you feel like a failure, you're going to think you're a failure. And when you think you're a failure, you're going to feel like a failure. And when you feel like a failure, you're going to think more thoughts equal to being a failure. And the cycle of thinking and feeling and feeling and thinking causes you to say, I am a failure. And the repetition of that process of thinking and feeling and feeling and thinking conditions the body to become the mind of that emotion. Now the emotion is stored in the body. Now the body's literally in the past. And the body, as the unconscious mind, doesn't know the difference between the actual experience that's creating the emotion and the emotion that you're creating by thought alone. Your body's believing it's in the same experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So then getting people out of the past is the work. So then they wake up in the morning after they reaffirm who they are, and they can't think greater than how they feel. They're in the familiar past. So if you're in the familiar past, you're going to do the things that reaffirm the emotions of your predictable future. So you wake up in the morning, you check your WhatsApp, you check your text, you check your Twitter, you tweet, you check your Facebook, you check your email, you check the news. Now you are really connected to everything that's known in your life. And then you run through a series of routine behaviors. You move around your house the same way you always do. You do all the same things. You go to the same grocery store, you buy the same food, you shop the same way, you do all these, you watch the same TV shows, and people do this for 10, 20, 30 years. Now their body's on autopilot, and their body's dragging them into a predictable future based on what they did in the past. You could actually take their yesterday and lift it up and set it on their tomorrow, which means then they've lost their free will to a program. So now the familiar past and the predictable future is called the known. There's only one place that you have to train a person to be so that they're not in the known, they're in the unknown, and that's called the present moment. So people get very happy being unhappy because they would rather cling to their unhappiness than take a chance in possibility. So stepping into that river and beginning to make a new choice and understanding that uncertainty, that unpredictability is the unknown. Now you're in that river of change, and it is the neurological, the biological, the chemical, hormonal, genetic death of the old self. People say to me, well, if there's uncertainty, I can't predict my future. And I always say the same thing. The best way to predict your future is to create it, not in the known, right there. That uncertainty, you can learn now how to regulate your state instead of living in fear, because the idea that things are going to get worse, the idea that you can't predict, the idea of being uncertain or can't control something actually sets off the stress response. So now you're in the unknown, and this survival gene is switched on. Of course, people are going out of the infinite possibilities that exist in the quantum field. They're going to select the worst scenario in their mind, right? So then what if you're in the unknown and you understand that, and now you can work back into that present moment, and you say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain, put my attention behind? What behaviors today, one day? What behaviors do I want to demonstrate? And the act of closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing who you're going to be when you open your eyes begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it. Now, the brain is no longer a record of the past.